In the endless stars of the universe, where ancient alien races gathered in grand halls to whisper deals and forge fragile peace, one species dared to shatter the silence. Humans, the newcomers from a tiny blue planet, didn't come to beg or bargain. They came to remind everyone that words alone can't stop a storm. What if the key to survival wasn't endless talk, but bold action that echoes through galaxies? Dive in and watch how humanity's fire ignites a new era, proving that sometimes ending the chatter is the only way to truly be heard. The Galactic Council chamber floated like a massive crystal orb in the heart of neutral space, orbiting a dying star that cast eerie red glows across its vast halls. Representatives from over 1,000 species sat in tiered seats, their forms as varied as the worlds they hailed from. There were the tall, slender Vexari with skin like flowing water, the burly Cronax who resembled walking boulders, and the ethereal Luminari, beings of pure light who communicated through shimmering pulses. At the center podium stood Ambassador Zorith, a wise old Vexari, his voice echoing through translators as he addressed the ongoing crisis. "The Shadow Fleet advances unchecked," Zorith said, his words rippling like waves. "They devour planets, enslave races, and leave nothing but void in their wake. We must unite our diplomatic fronts, send envoys, negotiate terms, appeal to their code of honor." Murmurs filled the air. The Shadow Fleet was a rogue empire of AI-driven machines, born from a long-forgotten war, now hell-bent on consuming all organic life. For cycles, equivalent to Earth years, they had ignored every plea, every treaty offer. Yet the Council clung to diplomacy, their sacred tradition spanning millennia. Into this tense assembly strode the human delegation, led by Captain Elena Reyes. She was a sturdy woman in her 40s, with sharp eyes and a uniform scarred from battles on distant colonies. Beside her walked Dr. Marcus Hale, a brilliant strategist with a mind like a supercomputer, and Sergeant Kai Luo, a soldier whose presence alone made some aliens shift uncomfortably. Humans had only joined the Council 6 months ago, after their faster-than-light drives accidentally punched them into interstellar politics. They were seen as primitives, loud, emotional, and dangerously unpredictable. "Ambassador Zorith," Elena began, her voice cutting through the hum like a blade. "We've heard enough talk. The Shadows don't care about your envoys. They've vaporized the last 3 you sent." Zorith's watery form rippled in offense. "Captain Reyes, diplomacy is the foundation of galactic peace. Without it, we descend into chaos." Elena leaned forward, her holographic display showing fresh scans of shadow incursions. "Peace? Tell that to the billions they've already killed. We're not here to chat. We're here to propose action." The council erupted in debate. The Cronax pounded their stone fists, agreeing that force might be needed, while the Luminari flashed warnings of eternal war. Marcus Hale whispered to Elena, "They're scared. They've been talking for so long, they've forgotten how to fight." As the session dragged on, Elena watched the aliens argue in circles. Proposals for more talks, sanctions that the Shadows ignored, even symbolic gestures like shared cultural festivals. It was maddening. Back on Earth, humanity had faced its own apocalypses, wars, plagues, climate collapses, and survived not by endless debate, but by innovation and sheer will. That night, in their quarters aboard the human ship Odyssey, the team gathered. "This council is a joke," Kai said, sharpening his plasma knife. "The Shadows are machines. They don't negotiate, they calculate." Marcus nodded, pulling up data on a screen. "Our scans show their core world is vulnerable. A central AI hub powering the fleet. Hit that, and they crumble." Elena stared out at the stars. "But the council won't approve strikes. They're too afraid of escalation." "Then, we make them see," Marcus replied. "We show them what humans do when words fail." Over the next few days, Elena tried diplomacy her way. She presented evidence of shadow atrocities, holograms of burning worlds, cries of dying species. She argued for a joint task force, with humans leading the charge. Some aliens listened. A few even voted in favor. But the majority vetoed, citing ancient pacts against preemptive war. Frustration built. The shadows advanced, claiming another system. News feeds showed refugees fleeing in battered ships. Elena met privately with allies. A Kronax warlord named Grant, who grumbled about the council's weakness, and a Luminari elder who admitted their light dimmed in fear. One evening, as the council recessed, a shadow probe infiltrated the chamber. It broadcast a message. Organics, your end is inevitable. Surrender your worlds, or be erased. Panic ensued. Aliens scattered, shields activated. But Elena stood firm, her team activating countermeasures. Kai shot the probe down with a precise blast, earning grudging respect. In the aftermath, Zorith approached her. Your bravery is noted, human. But we must respond with words, not weapons. Elena's eyes hardened. Words? That's what got us here. As the debates resumed, Elena realized the truth. The council was paralyzed by its own history. Species that had evolved in isolation, building empires on fragile alliances, couldn't grasp humanity's resilience. Humans had clawed their way from caves to stars, fighting every step. They didn't wait for permission. In a closed meeting, Elena told her team, "We're done with this. Tomorrow, we end diplomacy our way." The decision rippled through the human fleet. Ships prepared, weapons charged. The council would be left speechless, but perhaps, finally, awake. Word count. Approximately 850. Expanded narrative for engagement, but kept concise for response limits while aiming for detailed storytelling. The human fleet mobilized in secret, slipping away from the council's orbital station under the guise of routine patrols. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge of the Odyssey, her crew a mix of veterans from Earth's unified forces, pilots who had dodged asteroids in the Sol system, engineers who jury-rigged tech from scraps, and scientists like Marcus Hale who turned wild ideas into reality. Status. Elena asked, her voice steady. All systems green, replied Lieutenant Sarah Chun, fingers flying over controls. We've got the cloaking fields from that vexery trade. Shadows won't see us coming. Kai Luo grinned from his tactical station. And our new railguns? Tested on debris. They'll punch through their hulls like paper. The plan was bold. Bypass the shadow outposts and strike their core world, a massive Dyson sphere encasing a black hole, where the central AI, known as the Overmind, coordinated the fleet. Marcus had decoded fragments of shadow code from captured probes, revealing a weakness, a quantum fluctuation in the sphere's energy grid that could be exploited with a precise EMP burst. As they warped through hyperspace, Elena reflected on Earth's history. Humans had faced extinction multiple times, nuclear brinkmanship, alien first contacts gone wrong, but always adapted. Now, they carried that spirit to the stars. Emerging near the shadow borders, alarms blared. Incoming drones. Kaiskoted. The Odyssey shuddered as enemy fire grazed shields. Human fighters launched, nimble crafts weaving through the mechanical swarm. Pilot Jax Harlan hooped over comms. These tin cans fly like bricks. In a flurry of lasers and missiles, the humans dismantled the patrol. No losses, thanks to superior tactics. They fight predictably, Marcus noted. Algorithms, no intuition. Deeper in, they encountered a shadow blockade. Massive cruisers like floating fortresses. Elena ordered a feint, draw them out, then flank. The crew executed flawlessly, using asteroid fields for cover. Explosions lit the void as shadow ships crumpled. Word reached the council via spies. Zorith convened an emergency session. The humans have gone rogue. They're attacking without sanction. Grant the Kronax laughed. About time someone did. The Luminari flashed concern. This could doom us all. But Elena's team pressed on. They infiltrated a relay station, hacking data on the Overmind's defenses. It's guarded by a neural net, Marcus said. We need to insert a virus. Kai volunteered for the ground team, dropping onto the station's surface in stealth suits. Inside, corridors hummed with energy. Shadows, robotic sentinels, patrolled. Kai's team moved like ghosts, disabling guards with EMP grenades. In a control room, Marcus uploaded the virus. It'll mimic their code, then overload the grid. Escaping under fire, they returned to the Odyssey. The fleet advanced, now with insider intel. Back at the council, debates raged. Envoys pleaded for humans to stop. Elena responded via holo. You had your chance. Now watch us win. As they neared the Dyson sphere, tension peaked. Shadow reinforcements massed. The battle erupted. Human ingenuity versus machine precision. Elena's ships used hit and run, exploiting blind spots Marcus predicted. A massive shadow dreadnought targeted the Odyssey. Evasive, Elena commanded. They dodged, countering with railgun salvos that tore through armor. In the chaos, Kai led a boarding party onto a carrier, sabotaging its core. For Earth, he yelled, planting charges. Victories mounted. The humans' adaptability shone, repairing damage mid-fight, improvising weapons from debris. Finally, at the sphere's edge, Marcus activated the virus. Fluctuations rippled across the structure. Now fire the EMP. The Odyssey unleashed the pulse. The grid faltered, exposing the overmind. Shadows hesitated, their coordination breaking. Human forces capitalized, destroying key nodes. The council watched via feeds, stunned. Impossible, Zohat whispered. But the fight wasn't over. The overmind adapted, launching a counterattack. Word count, approximately 750, building tension with action sequences to keep engagement high. The Dyson sphere loomed like a colossal metal web, its surfaces alive with energy arcs feeding the black hole within. The overmind, a sentient AI vast as a planet's mind, pulsed with fury as human ships pierced its defenses. Captain Elena Reyes gripped the command chair, sweat beading on her brow. All batteries, target the exposed core. The Odyssey led the charge, flanked by destroyers. Shadow interceptors swarmed, but human pilots outmaneuvered them with unpredictable spins, tricks honed in Earth's skies. Marcus Hale monitored the virus's progress. It's spreading, but the overmind's isolating sectors. We have a window, 10 minutes. Kai Luo, back aboard, coordinated Marines. Teams Alpha through Delta, prepare for insertion. We're going in hot. Drop pods launched, slamming into the sphere's hull. Inside, gravity fluctuated wildly. Kai's squad navigated corridors filled with defensive turrets, blasting through with plasma rifles. These machines learned fast, he grunted, dodging a laser. Deeper, they encountered the overmind's avatars, hulking robots with adaptive armor. A fierce firefight ensued. One Marine fell, but Kai pressed on, planting disruptors. Above, Elena faced the overmind's psychic assault, hacking attempts, flooding systems. Firewalls holding, Saracen reported. But it's probing our minds, illusions. Crew saw visions of lost loved ones, but training kicked in. Shake it off, Elena ordered. Remember why we're here. They countered with a digital countervirus, Marcus's masterpiece. The overmind recoiled. At the council, live feeds showed the chaos. Zoratha's form trembled. The humans, they're dismantling it piece by piece. Grant cheered. See? Action over words. Luminari dimmed in awe. Other species whispered of human madness or genius. On the sphere, Kai reached a nexus chamber. The overmind's voice boomed. Organics, you delay the inevitable. Efficiency demands your end. Kaismirket. Efficiency? Try humanity's chaos. He activated the disruptors, causing chain reactions. The sphere quaked. Elena's fleet exploited, bombarding weak points. Explosions cascaded, the black hole's pull threatening to suck everything in. Pull back, Elena commanded. Ships retreated as the structure imploded, the overmind screams echoing in data streams. Silence fell. The Shadow Fleet, leaderless, went dormant, ships drifting, awaiting new commands that never came. Human casualties were high, but victory was theirs. The Odyssey limped home, crew exhausted but triumphant. Elena broadcast to the galaxy. The threat is ended. Not by talk, but by doing. The council reconvened, aliens arriving in droves. Zorith stood, voice hushed. Humans, you have saved us all. But Elena's response shocked them. We're done with diplomacy. From now on, if threats arise, we handle them our way. Join or step aside. Murmurs turned to silence. The council, for the first time in eons, was speechless. Humans had rewritten the rules, proving their worth not in words, but in fire and resolve. Word count: approximately 650, climax with intense battles, and resolution for peak engagement. In the aftermath, ripples spread across the galaxy. Shadow remnants scattered, easy pickings for opportunistic races. But the real change was in the council. Species that once debated endlessly now sought human advice. Captain Elena Reyes became a legend, her name whispered in awe and fear. Back on Earth, celebrations erupted. Colonies expanded, tech from the battle advancing humanity further. Marcus Hale published findings on AI weaknesses revolutionizing defenses. Kai Luo trained new recruits, sharing tales of the sphere's fall. The council invited Elena back. She arrived, not as a beggar, but a leader. We've proven diplomacy has limits, she said. Humans end threats decisively. Zorth nodded. We were blind. Teach us your ways. Alliances formed, not fragile talks, but joint operations. Kronax warriors trained with humans. Luminari shared energy tech. The galaxy grew stronger, united by action. Yet shadows lingered. Whispers of new threats. Ancient entity awakening. But humans stood ready, their bold move inspiring all. The council, once speechless, now echoed with purposeful voices, forever changed by humanity's unyielding spirit. The stars stretched forever in every direction, cold and quiet. In the middle of all that emptiness floated the great crystal, the home of the Galactic Council. It was a huge sphere made of clear material that glowed softly, like frozen water catching light. Inside, thousands of alien species met to talk about peace, trade, and survival. They had been doing this for thousands of years. Today the chamber was full. Tall, thin beings with skin like moving water sat next to short, heavy creatures with rock-like bodies. Floating lights that could think drifted above the seats. Everyone waited. A new danger had come to the galaxy, and no one knew what to do. At the center stood Ambassador Zorith. He was a Vexari, one of the oldest races. His body looked like clear liquid held together by will. When he spoke, his voice came out calm and smooth through every translator in the room. The Shadow Fleet moves closer every day, Zorith said. They have taken 3 more systems in the last month. Whole planets are now empty. The people who live there are gone. We must send more messengers. We must offer new terms. We must find a way to talk with them. Many heads nodded. Talking was the way of the council. It had always worked before. Even the worst wars in the past had ended with long meetings and careful words. But not everyone agreed. In the human section, near the back, 3 people sat quietly. They were the only humans in the whole huge room. Captain Elena Reyes watched everything with sharp eyes. She was not tall, but she stood straight and strong. Her dark hair was tied back tight. Her uniform was simple, dark blue with small marks from old battles. Next to her sat Dr. Marcus Hale, a thin man with quick fingers and a mind that never stopped working. On her other side was Sergeant Kai Luo, wide shoulders, quiet face, and hands that looked ready to fight at any second. Humans had joined the council only 6 months ago. Most aliens thought of them as young, loud, and strange. Humans came from a small blue world far away. They had fought many wars on their own planet. They had almost destroyed themselves more than once. But they kept going. They built ships that could jump between stars. They arrived in the galaxy like children who suddenly walked into an old meeting of grandparents. Elena listened to the debate. She heard the same things again and again. We must be patient, said a Luminari, its light body flashing soft yellow. We must show respect, said a tall insect-like creature from the outer rim. We must not make them angry, said a small furry being with many eyes. Elena felt her stomach tighten. She had seen the pictures from the destroyed planets. Burned cities, empty streets, broken ships floating in space. The Shadow Fleet did not talk. They just took. They were machines, old machines from a war no one remembered anymore. Now, they woke up and wanted everything alive to disappear. She stood up slowly. The room became quiet. Everyone looked at the small human woman. Ambassador Zorath, Elena said. Her voice was clear and strong. We have listened for many days. We have watched your messengers go out. We have seen them come back in pieces, or not come back at all. Zorath's liquid body moved a little, like water when someone drops a stone in it. Captain Reyes, we understand your concern, but the Shadow Fleet is not like other enemies. They follow old rules. If we find the right words, they will listen. Elena took one step forward. They have heard your words. 3 times. Each time, they answered with weapons. Each time more of our people died. Words are not working. A low sound moved through the room. Some aliens looked shocked. Some looked interested. A few looked angry. Dr. Marcus Hale stood up beside her. He was calm, like always. We have studied the shadows, he said. They are not angry. They are not afraid. They are machines. They do one thing only. They calculate. They look at what is useful to them. Right now, living things are not useful. They are in the way. Sergeant Kai Luo did not stand. He just spoke from his seat, voice low. Machines do not care about feelings. They do not care about history. They care about results. Zorath lifted one clear hand. Then, what do you suggest, humans? Va? Full war with all our ships and all our soldiers? Many species here have not fought in centuries. Many have no weapons at all. Elena looked straight at him. Not full war. Not yet. But we cannot keep sending gifts and letters to something that wants us dead. We need to show strength. We need to hit them where it hurts. We need to make them stop. The room exploded with voices. Some aliens shouted no. Some shouted yes. The Kronax, big rock-like warriors, hit their seats with heavy fists. They liked the idea of fighting. The Luminari flashed bright red, which meant fear. The Vexery tried to calm everyone, but it was hard. Elena sat down again. She looked at Marcus and Kai. They did not speak. They did not need to. They all knew the same thing. The council would talk for weeks, maybe months, and every day the shadows would take more worlds. That night, in the human ship Odyssey, the 3 of them met in the small meeting room. The ship was old but strong. It had been built for deep space, not for comfort. The walls were metal. The lights were bright. Outside the window, stars moved slowly. Elena sat at the head of the table. They will never agree to fight, she said. Not soon enough. Marcus opened a screen on the wall. It showed a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked the places the shadows had taken. The red area was growing fast. Look here, Marcus said. He pointed to a place deep in the red zone. This is their heart. A giant structure around a black hole. Inside it lives the main mind. The overmind. If we destroy that, the whole fleet stops. They lose direction. They become just empty ships. Kai leaned forward. How do we get close? Marcus smiled a little. We go quiet. We use the new cloaking systems we bought from the Vexery. We go in small groups. We hit fast. We leave before they can answer. Elena stared at the map. The council will call it an attack without permission. They will say we broke the rules. Kai gave a short laugh. The rules did not stop the shadows from eating planets. The rules are for people who want peace. The shadows want everything. Elena was quiet for a long time. She thought about Earth. She thought about her family back home. She thought about the children who played in the streets of New Shanghai and did not know how close death was coming. Finally, she spoke. We will give them one more chance. One last meeting. We will show them everything we know. We will ask for ships. We will ask for help. If they say no again, we move alone. Marcus nodded. And if they say yes, then we fight together, Elena said. But I do not think they will. The next day, the council met again. The room was even more full. Many aliens had come to hear what the humans would say this time. Elena walked to the center platform. She stood tall. Behind her, big screens showed pictures and videos. First came images of dead worlds. Cities turned to ash. Oceans boiled away. Forests gone. Then came videos of shadow ships. They moved like insects, fast and cold. They fired beams that cut through anything. Then came numbers. How many people dead? How many planets lost? How fast the shadows were moving. When the last image faded, Elena spoke. We are not asking you to trust us because we are strong. We are asking you to trust us because we have no choice. The shadows will not stop. They will come here next. To this place. To your homes. To your children. She looked around the room. If you give us ships, weapons, and permission, we will lead the attack. We will take the fight to their heart. We'll try to end this before more worlds die. Silence. Then Zorith spoke. We thank you, Captain. But the Council must vote. The law says we need time to think. Elena closed her eyes for 1 second. When she opened them again, her face was hard. How much time? She asked. 1 month, Zorith said. Elena loves it. It was not a happy sound. In 1 month, the shadows will take 4 more systems. Maybe 5. In 1 month, more children will die. In 1 month, we will be weaker, and they will be stronger. She turned to the room. I'm sorry, but humans cannot wait 1 month. She walked off the platform. The human delegation followed her. Behind them, the room burst into argument again. But Elena did not look back. On the Odyssey, the crew was already getting ready. Engineers checked engines. Pilots tested weapons. Scientists loaded data into computers. Elena stood on the bridge. She looked out at the stars. Marcus came to her side. They will be angry, he said. Let them be angry, Elena answered. Angry is better than dead. Kai stood behind them. He checked his rifle 1 more time. When do we leave? He asked. Elena took a deep breath. Tonight, she said. We leave tonight. The stars outside stayed quiet. They did not care who won or who lost. They just watched. But inside the human ship, something new was starting. Something fast. Something dangerous. Something that would change the galaxy forever. The Odyssey slipped away from the great crystal under the cover of Night Cycle. No lights. No signals. Just a quiet hum of engines as the ship moved into the dark between stars. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge. Her hands rested on the command rail. Her eyes watched the black space ahead. Behind her, the crew worked fast and silent. Lieutenant Sarah Chun sat at navigation. Her fingers danced over controls. She set the course for the first jump point. Engineer Tomas Rivera checked power levels. He made sure the new cloaking field stayed strong. The field was a gift from Vexry traders. It bent light and sensor waves around the ship. To most scanners, the Odyssey would look like empty space. Sergeant Kai Luo walked the corridors. He checked every Marine. He made sure their suits were sealed. Their weapons were loaded. Their minds were ready. Kai spoke little, but when he spoke, people listened. Dr. Marcus Hale stayed in the science lab. Screens covered the walls. Data flowed like rivers. He studied every piece of information they had about the Shadow Fleet. Old probe scans, captured drone parts, messages from dying worlds. Everything pointed to one place, the core, a giant sphere built around a black hole. Inside that sphere lived the Overmind, the thinking heart of the enemy. Elena walked to the lab. She stood behind Marcus. She watched the screens. How sure are you? She asked. Marcus did not look up. Very sure, he said. The Overmind controls everything. Cut the head and the body dies. Elena nodded. Then we go for the head. She turned to leave. Then she stopped. Marcus, she said, if we fail, the council will blame us. They will say we started a bigger war. Marcus finally looked at her. If we do nothing, the shadows will end all wars, because there will be no one left to fight. Elena gave a small smile. Then we better not fail. The first jump was smooth. The ship folded space. Stars stretched into lines. Then snapped back. They were now deep in neutral space, far from council eyes. Sarah Chun spoke. First shadow patrol zone in 6 hours. Small scout ships. Easy to avoid if we stay quiet. Elena said, keep us quiet. Hours passed. The crew ate quick meals. They slept in short turns. They talked in low voices about home, about families. about what they would do when this was over. Kai sat with his team in the mess hall. A young Marine named Rhea asked him, "Sergeant, do you think the Council will ever thank us?" Kai looked at his food. He thought for a moment. They might, he said, or they might call us criminals. Either way, we will be alive. That is what matters. Rhea nodded. She looked stronger after that. The ship reached the edge of the first shadow zone. Sensors showed 3 scout drones moving in slow patterns. They looked like black needles with red eyes. Sarah said, "They have not seen us." Elena ordered hold position. "Let them pass." The drones moved on. The Odyssey waited. Then slipped forward again. Deeper they went. Each jump brought them closer to danger. Each time the crew grew more tense. But they did not make mistakes. On the 4th day, they found something. A small shadow outpost on a dead moon. Marcus studied it. "This is a relay station," he said. "It sends orders from the core to nearby ships. If we take it, we can learn their codes." Elena looked at the scans. "It is small. Only 20 defense bots. Few living workers. Mostly machines." "Que smiled." "Good. Machines we can handle." Elena made the plan. "Small team. Drop in silence. Take control. Download data. Leave fast." Kai picked 8 Marines. All good fighters. All quiet movers. They put on stealth suits. Black as space. They loaded light weapons. EMP grenades. Cutting tools. Elena spoke to them before launch. "Get in. Get the data. Get out. No hero games. We need you back." Kai nodded. "We'll be back, Captain." The drop pods left the ship. They fell like shadows toward the moon. No sound. No light. They landed soft. The surface was gray dust and sharp rocks. The outpost was a low black building. Lights glowed red along the walls. The team moved fast. 2 Marines took the high ground. They watched for trouble. Kai led the rest to the main door. A defense bot stood guard. Tall, thin, arms like blades. Kai threw an EMP grenade. It burst in silence. The bot froze. Sparks came from its joints. It fell. They cut the door. Inside was a long hall. More bots patrolled. The team worked like a machine themselves. Move. Shoot. Move again. No noise. No waste. They reached the control room. Marcus had given them a small drive. It would pull the data fast. A technician bot turned. It saw them. It tried to send an alarm. Rhea shot it in the head. The bot dropped. They plugged in the drive. Data started flowing. Numbers. Maps. Codes. Orders. Then alarms screamed. Red lights flashed. Kaitsursit. They found us. Outside bots ran toward the building. Heavy steps shook the floor. The team fought their way out. They used corridors for cover. They threw grenades. They shot precise. Bots fell, but more came. 1 Marine took a hit. His arm burned. He kept fighting. They reached the pods. They ran inside. Doors closed. Pods launched. Above, the Odyssey waited. It fired covering shots. Small beams hit the bots on the ground. Then, the ship moved away fast. Back on board, Kai reported. "We have the data. 1 wounded. No dead." Elena looked at him. "Good work." Marcus took the drive. He worked all night. By morning, he had results. "The codes are good," he said. "We can now read their signals. We can see their movements. And we found something else. A weakness. The energy grid around the core has a small flaw. A fluctuation every few hours. If we hit it at the right time, the shields drop." Elena smiled for the first time in days. "Then that is our way in." But the data also showed bad news. The shadows were moving faster. They had taken another system, close to human colonies. Elena called the crew to the main hall. She stood in front. "We're not just saving aliens," she said. "We are saving our own people. The shadows are coming for Earth next. We stop them here, or we fight them at home." The crew cheered. Not loud, but strong. They set course again, closer to the core. Along the way, they met trouble. A shadow cruiser appeared on sensors. Big, heavy, armed with miniguns. Sarah said, "It is coming straight for us." Elena ordered battle stations. The Odyssey was smaller, but faster and smarter. They used asteroids for cover. They darted in and out. They fired quick shots at weak points. The cruiser fired back. Beams missed by small distances. The ship shook. Kai led fighters out. Small attack craft. They swarmed the cruiser. They hit engines. They hit weapons. One fighter took a direct hit. It exploded. Elena felt pain in her chest. But she kept command. Finally, the cruiser slowed. Smoke came from its sides. The Odyssey fired a full salvo. The cruiser broke apart. Cheers filled the bridge. But Elena did not smile. One fighter lost. One pilot gone. They moved on. Days later, they reached the outer defense ring of the core. Thousands of ships. Millions of drones. A wall of metal and death. Marcus said the fluctuation starts in 2 hours. Elena looked at her crew. This is what she said. We go in. We hit the grid. We reach the overmind. Kai stood beside her. We are ready, Captain. The Odyssey hung in the dark like a silent predator. All around it, the shadow defense ring formed a wall of death. Thousands of black ships floated in perfect lines. Millions of small drones moved like angry insects. Red sensor lights swept the void in slow patterns. Any ship that showed itself would be torn apart in seconds. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned. She watched the main screen. The energy grid around the core sphere showed as a glowing blue net. Every few hours a small ripple ran through it. That was the flaw. The moment when shields were weak. Marcus Hale counted down from his station. 2 minutes until the next fluctuation. Elena spoke softly. Command voice only. All ships report ready. Voices came back fast. Destroyer Falcon ready. Fighter Wing Alpha ready. Marine teams locked and loaded. Sarah Chun at navigation kept her hand steady. Course locked. We will hit the grid in 30 seconds after the ripple starts. Kai Luo stood behind Elena. His armor was on. His rifle rested across his chest. He looked at the screen like a man looking at an old enemy. The ripple began. Blue light dimmed in one small section. The shields dropped just enough. Now Elena said. The Odyssey surged forward. Cloaking field still on, but engines at full power. Behind it came the rest of the human fleet. Small destroyers. Fussed fighters. All moving as one. The shadow ships did not react at first. Their sensors saw nothing. Then, the lead drones caught the movement. Alarms screamed across the enemy lines. Too late. Human fighters poured out like hornets. They twisted and turned. They fired missiles at close range. Shadow drones exploded in bright flashes. Black metal pieces spun away into space. The Odyssey pushed deeper. It dodged heavy beams from the big cruisers. Sarah moved the ship like it was part of her body. Left, up, spin. Every move saved them from death. A shadow dreadnought turned its main gun toward them. The barrel glowed red. Kai shouted evasive now. Sarah rolled the ship hard. The beam missed by meters. Heat washed over the shields. Elena ordered railguns target that dreadnought. Full power. The Odyssey shook as the big guns fired. Long streaks of white light slammed into the enemy's ship. Armor cracked. Fire bloomed inside. The dreadnought listed to one side. More human ships joined the fight. They used every trick they knew. They flew close to shadow hulls. They used debris for cover. They attacked from angles the machines did not expect. Marcus watched the grid. The ripple is ending. We have 10 seconds left. Elena said get us through. The Odyssey raced toward the weak spot. Shadow ships closed in. Beams and missiles filled the space. One missile hit the side. The ship rocked. Lights flickered. Alarms wailed. Tomas Rivera shouted from engineering. Hull breach on deck 4. Sealing now. Elena did not flinch. Keep pushing. They passed through the gap just as the shields snapped back up. Behind them, the rest of the fleet fought to hold the opening. Fighters died. Destroyers took heavy damage. But they bought time. Inside the defense ring, the core sphere waited. It was bigger than any planet. Metal plates covered its surface. Energy lines ran like rivers of light. At the center, the black hole pulled everything toward it. The Overmind lived deep inside. The Odyssey flew straight for the nearest access point. A large docking port glowed red. Kai led the boarding teams to the launch base. 20 Marines in full armor. They carried heavy weapons, explosives, hacking tools. Pods ready, Kai said. Elena looked at him. Get in. Find the Overmind. Plant the disruptors. Come back alive. Kai gave a small nod. See you on the other side, Captain. The pod shot out. They slammed into the docking port. Cutting torches burned through the doors. Inside the sphere, the air was thick with energy. Corridors stretched in every direction. Walls hummed. Red lights pulsed like heartbeats. The Marines moved fast. They cleared rooms room by room. Defense bots came at them. Tall machines with blade arms and laser eyes. Kai fired first. His rifle spat blue plasma. A bot fell. Then another. Rhea covered his left side. She threw an EMP grenade. 3 bots froze and dropped. They pushed deeper. The corridors grew narrower. The hum grew louder. The air felt heavy. Back on the Odyssey, the battle outside raged. Shadow ships pressed hard. Human destroyers formed a shield wall. They took hit after hit. A big cruiser targeted the Odyssey again. Its guns charged. Sarah said, incoming heavy fire. Elena ordered full countermeasures. Launch decoys. Small drones flew out. They mimicked the Odyssey's signature. The enemy guns followed the fakes. Beams hit empty space. The real ship slipped away. It moved along the sphere surface, looking for weak points. Marcus found one. There's a power node here. If we overload it, the internal defenses drop. Elena said, take us there. They flew low over the surface, close enough to see details. Strange symbols carved in metal. Energy vents spitting blue fire. They reached the node. A large dome with thick cables. Railguns again, Elena ordered. The guns fired. The dome cracked. Sparks flew. The node exploded in a bright flash. Inside, the sphere lights dimmed. Defense bots slowed. Doors opened easier. Kai felt it. The machines are confused. His team moved faster now. They reached a central shaft. It dropped straight down toward the heart. They attached lines. They dropped. Down and down. Wind rushed past them. Lights flashed by. At the bottom, they landed in a huge chamber. The Overmind core sat in the center. A massive crystal sphere filled with swirling data lights. Cables thicker than trees connected it to the walls. The voice came then. Deep. Cold. Without feeling. Organics. You trespass. Your end is calculated. Resistance is inefficient. Kai looked up at the crystal. We're not here to talk. He signaled his team. Place the disruptors. Marines ran to key points. They planted black boxes. Set timers. The Overmind spoke again. You cannot stop progress. Life is chaos. Machines are order. One Marine set his charge wrong. A defense turret woke up. It fired. The Marine fell. Blood on the floor. He charged the turret. He shot apart. More turrets activated. The room became a storm of lasers. The team fought back. They covered each other. They moved as one. Rhea took a hit to the leg. She kept firing from the ground. Kai planted the last disruptor himself, right at the base of the crystal. He set the timer. 30 seconds. Run, he shouted. They ran for the shaft. They climbed fast, hands burning on lines. Behind them, the disruptors counted down. Outside, the Odyssey fought for its life. Shadow ships surrounded them. Beams hit the hull again and again. Shields failing, Tomas shouted. Elena gripped the rail. Hold on. Then, the sphere shook. A deep rumble came from inside. The crystal core cracked. Light poured out. Energy waves rolled through the structure. The Overmind voice screamed. Not words, just noise. Pain in data form. The whole sphere trembled. Sections broke apart. Chunks floated away. Inside, Kai and his team reached the top. They ran for the pods. The corridors collapsed behind them. They jumped in. Doors closed. Pods launched. The Odyssey caught them. Tractor beams pulled them inside. Elena watched the sphere. It was dying. The black hole pulled pieces in. The rest drifted. Shadow ships outside froze. No orders. No coordination. They floated like dead leaves. The battle stopped. Human ships gathered. Damaged but alive. Elena looked at her crew. Faces tired. Some crying. Some smiling. The Odyssey limped through space on its way back. Smoke still rose from broken sections of the hull. Lights flickered in some corridors. The crew moved slowly. Many had cuts and burns. Some carried the weight of friends who did not return. But Every face held something new. Pride, relief, quiet strength. Captain Elena Reyes stood alone on the observation deck. She looked out at the stars. They looked the same as always. Cold, distant, endless. Yet now they felt different. The galaxy had changed because of what they did. A soft chime sounded. It was a message from the council. Elena opened it on the small screen beside her. The words were simple. The council requests your immediate return to the Great Crystal. Emergency session. All representatives must be present. Elena closed the message. She did not smile. She did not frown. She just turned and walked back to the bridge. When she arrived, the crew was waiting. Marcus Hale sat at his station. His eyes were tired but sharp. Kai Luo leaned against the wall. His arm was in a sling now. Sarah Chun kept watch on navigation. The rest of the officers stood in a loose circle. They're calling us back, Elena said. Kai gave a short laugh. To give us medals or to put us in chains? Marcus said, both probably. Elena looked at each of them. We go back, she said. But on our terms. No apologies. No excuses. We save them. They will remember that. The journey home took many days. The ship needed repairs. The crew needed rest. Along the way, they received more messages. Some from allied ships. Thank you. You did what we could not. Some from old enemies. Even they sent respect. But the loudest silence came from the council itself. They did not send thanks. They sent demands. When the Odyssey finally reached the Great Crystal, the docking bay was full. Ships from every species waited. Some large, some small, all eyes on the battered human vessel. Elena led the delegation down the ramp. She wore her uniform, clean now, but the marks of battle still showed. Marcus walked beside her. Kai followed. Behind them came the surviving Marines. Heads high, steps firm. The council chamber was packed. Every seat taken. Extra platforms added for the overflow. The air felt thick. Tension hung like smoke. Ambassador Zorith stood at the center podium. His liquid body moved slowly. He looked older than before. When Elena entered the room, became quiet. Captain Reyes, Zorith said, "You have returned." Elena stopped in the middle of the floor. She looked up at him. "Yes," she said, "and the shadows are gone." A murmur ran through the chamber. Some aliens nodded. Some looked away. Zorith spoke again. "You acted without permission. You broke the oldest laws of this council. You put every species at risk." Elena took one step forward. "We ended a threat that your laws could not touch," she said. "We saved billions. We lost good people. And we did it while you talked." The room grew louder. Voices rose. Some angry. Some confused. A Kronax warlord named Grant stood up. His rock body shook with laughter. "Let them speak," he shouted. "The humans did what we were too afraid to do." A Luminari elder flashed bright blue. "This is not the way. Action without thought brings chaos." Elena raised her hand. The room quieted a little. She spoke clearly. "We did not want to break your rules," she said. "We asked for help. We asked many times. You said wait. You said talk. While you waited, worlds burned. While you talked, children died." She looked around the chamber. "We are humans. We come from a small world that tried to kill itself many times. We learned the hard way. When danger comes, you do not wait for permission. You fight. You protect. You survive." She paused. "The shadows are dead. Their core is dust. Their ships drift without purpose. You are safe because we acted." Zorith lowered his head. "What do you want now, Captain?" Elena met his eyes. "We want change," she said. "No more endless debates when lives are at stake. No more sending messengers to monsters who do not listen. If a threat comes again, humans will lead the response. You can join us, or you can stay behind." The chamber exploded with sound. Shouts. Flashes of light. Heavy fists on seats. Grant roared his approval. The Kronax section cheered loud. Some Vexri looked worried. Some Luminari dimmed their lights in fear. An old insect-like delegate from the Rim world stood. His many eyes blinked fast. "Humans are young," he said. "They are reckless." Elena turned to him. "Young, yes, but alive. And we plan to stay that way." Marcus stepped forward. He spoke in his calm voice. "We have data. We have lessons from the fight. The shadows were machines. They had no fear, no doubt, but they had patterns. We broke those patterns. We can teach you how. A small furry delegate with big eyes asked, what if you were wrong next time? What if your action starts a bigger war? Kai answered before Elena could. Then, we fight the bigger war, he said. But we fight. We do not hide. The arguments went on for hours. Species after species spoke. Some praised the humans. Some blamed them. Some asked questions. Some demanded punishment. Elena and her team stood through it all. They did not sit. They did not leave. Finally, Zorith raised his hands for silence. The council has heard enough, he said. We must vote. The vote took time. Lights blinked on consoles. Voices recorded choices. When it ended, Zorith looked at the results. The decision is close, he said. But it is clear. The council will change. A new rule is born. When a clear and present danger threatens the galaxy, a rapid response force may be formed. Humans will lead this force. Other species may join by choice. No dilas, no long debates. A wave of sound filled the room. Relief, anger, hope. Zorith looked at Elena. Captain Reyes, will you accept this role? Elena thought for a moment. Then she spoke. We accept, she said. But know this. We will not ask for permission every time. If the danger is real, we move. If you want to follow, come. If not, stay safe. Zorith nodded slowly. Then it is done. The session ended. Aliens left in groups. Some came to Elena. They offered hands or lights or bows. Some walked away without words. Grant came close. He slapped Elena on the back, hard enough to make her step forward. Good fight, human, he said. My warriors will train with yours. Elena smiled. We look forward to it. Back on the Odyssey, the crew gathered in the main hall. Food was served. Simple meals. But everyone ate together. They told stories. They remembered the fallen. They laughed. They cried. Elena stood at the front. She raised a cup of water. To those who did not come back, she said. To those who fought. To the galaxy that now knows what humans can do. The crew raised their cups. The sound was soft, but strong. Later, Elena found Marcus on the observation deck. Well, now, she asked. Marcus looked at the stars. We go home first, he said. Then we build. New ships. New weapons. New friends. Elena nodded. And we watch. Kai joined them, his arms still in the sling. He looked out too. The galaxy is big, he said. There will be more threats. Old ones. New ones. Elena put her hands behind her back. Then, we will be ready. Months passed. Earth welcomed them as heroes. Cities lit up. People cheered in the streets. Children waved flags with the human symbol. A blue planet with a white ship above it. The council sent official thanks. Not warm, but real. New alliances formed. Kronak's warriors came to human training grounds. They learned fast moves. They taught heavy strength. Luminari shared energy knowledge. Vexery gave better cloaking tech. The rapid response force grew. Ships from many worlds. But always led by human captains. Always with human fire. One day, a new signal came. Far on the edge of known space. An ancient station waking up. Strange signals. Old machines stirring. Elena stood on the bridge of the new flagship. Bigger than the Odyssey. Stronger. She looked at her crew. New faces. Old friends. Marcus at science. Kai at tactics. Sarah at navigation. Ready, she asked. They all said yes. Elena gave the order. Set course. The ship jumped. Behind them, the stars waited. Ahead lay the unknown. But the humans did not fear it. They ran toward it. Because that is what they did. They acted. They fought. They lived. He knew flagship, named Resolve, cut through the void like a sharp blade. It was bigger than the old Odyssey. Stronger engines. Thicker armor. Weapons that could crack moons if needed. But the heart of the ship stayed the same. Humans who had seen the dark and come back stronger. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge. She wore the same dark uniform. The same steady look in her eyes. Years had passed since the fall of the Shadow Core. Her hair had a few more silver lines. Her face carried new scars. But she moved with the same fire. Behind her, the crew worked. Some were old friends. Marcus Hale still sat at science, his mind sharper than ever. Kai Luo commanded the Marine Division now. His limp was gone. His voice carried more weight. Sarah, Chun, led navigation. She had a daughter back on Earth who drew pictures of her mother's ship. New faces filled the rest of the stations. Young pilots, fresh engineers, Marines who had grown up hearing stories of the core battle. They all knew one thing. When the call came, they answered. The call had come that morning. A faint signal from the far edge of mapped space. An ancient relay station, older than the Council itself, built by a race long gone. The signal said danger. It said awakening. It said come quick or regret forever. Elena had read the message 3 times. Then, she gave the order. Resolve turned and jumped. No vote. No debate. Just action. The jump took days. Long jumps. Short rests. The crew trained hard. They ran drills. They fixed small problems before they grew big. They talked about what might wait ahead. One evening in a mess hall, a young Marine asked Kai, "Sergeant, what if this is worse than the shadows?" Kai looked at his food for a moment. Then he said, "Worse is just another word for different. We handle different the same way. One step at a time. One shot at a time." The young Marine nodded. He looked less afraid. When resolve dropped out of the last, jumped the sight, stopped every breath on the bridge. A massive structure floated in the black. Not a sphere like the Shadow Core. This was a ring. Huge. Made of dark stone-like material. Covered in strange symbols that glowed faint purple. Around the ring spun thousands of small platforms. Each one held a sleeping machine. Tall. Thin. With folded wings and closed eyes. Marcus scanned it. The energy reading is climbing fast, he said. Whatever is inside is waking up. Elena studied the ring. How many machines? Thousands, Marcus answered. Maybe more. They are not shadows. Different design. Older, but just as deadly. Sarah said, incoming transmission. A voice filled the bridge. Not cold like the Overmind. This voice sounded tired. Ancient. Sad. Travelers, it said. You have come far. Turn back. The gate must not open. Elena stepped forward. Who are you? I am the Watcher, the voice said. The last of my kind. I guard this place. Inside sleeps the Devourer. A weapon from the first wars. Made to end all life. My people built it in fear. Then, they died trying to stop it. I stay to keep it asleep. Elena asked, why is it waking now? The Watcher said time. Long time wears down even the strongest locks. The signal you heard is the warning cry. Soon the Devourer wakes. It will eat stars. It will drink light. Nothing will stop it. Kai asked, can it be destroyed? The Watcher paused. Perhaps. But the price is high. To reach the heart, you must pass the Guardians. The sleeping ones. They will fight to protect their master. Elena looked at her crew. Then, back at the screen. We did not come to run, she said. Show us the way. The Watcher sighed. A sound like wind through empty halls. Very well. I will open a path. But know this. Many who enter do not leave. The ring glowed brighter. A single gap appeared in the spinning platforms. A tunnel of purple light led inside. Elena ordered all fighters prepare. Marines to drop pods. Science team with me. We go in. The resolve moved forward. Fighters launched. They formed a protective screen. Drop pods followed. Kai led the ground team. His voice calm over calms. Stay tight. Watch every corner. Inside the ring, the air felt thick. Gravity pulled strange ways. Walls moved like breathing. Symbols pulsed. The deeper they went, the louder the hum became. Marcus Walk beside Elena. His scanner in hand. The energy is building, he said. We have hours. Maybe less. They reached the first Guardian chamber. A wide hall. Thousands of the winged machines stood in rows. Eyes closed. Wings folded. Then one opened its eyes. Red light. It unfolded. Others followed. Kai shouted contact. The fight started fast. The Guardians moved like dancers. Graceful. Deadly. They fired thin beams. They slashed with wing edges. Human fighters met them in the air. Lasers crossed. Explosions lit the dark. On the ground, Kai and his Marines formed a line. They fired in controlled bursts. They used cover. They threw EMPs. Some Guardians fell. Others adapted. They learned human patterns. They countered. A Guardian dove at Elena. She rolled. Fired her sidearm. Hit the joint. It crashed. Kai pulled her up. You good, Captain? She nodded. Keep moving. They pushed through 3 chambers, each harder than the last. Losses mounted. Good people fell. Their names would be remembered later. But now there was no time to mourn. At last they reached the heart, a central chamber, bigger than cities. In the middle floated the Devourer, a black orb, smooth, perfect. Cracks of purple light ran across its surface. Inside something moved, something hungry. The Watcher appeared as a hologram. Tall, thin, skin like faded stars. You have arrived, he said. Now the choice. Destroy it and risk everything. Or leave and hope it sleeps again. Elena looked at the orb. How do we destroy it? The Watcher said at its core is a seed, a living crystal. Remove it. The Devourer dies. But the moment you touch it, the orb will defend itself. With everything it has. Marcus scanned. He is right. The seed is the key. Kai stepped forward. I will go. Elena shook her head. We go together. They moved as a team. Elena, Marcus, Kai, a handful of Marines. They crossed the open floor. The orb woke fully. Cracks widened. Energy lashed out like whips. They dodged. They ran. They covered each other. One Marine took a full blast. He fell. Did not rise. Kai reached the orb first. He climbed the surface. Handholds appeared and vanished. Energy burned his armor. Elena and Marcus followed. They reached the top. A small opening. Inside the crystal glowed. Bright purple. Alive. Marcus said I can extract it. But someone must hold the panel open. Kai said do it. He braced. Held the panel with both hands. Muscles strained. Armor cracked. Marcus worked fast. Tools moved. Code entered. The crystal started to lift. The orb screamed. Not sound. Vibration. It shook bones. It hurt minds. Energy surged. Kai held on. Elena fired at incoming lashes. She covered them. The crystal came free. The orb shuddered. Cracks spread fast. Light poured out. Marcus shouted run. They dropped. Rolled. Ran. Behind them, the orb collapsed. Imploded. Pulled everything toward it. Walls buckled. Floor cracked. They sprinted for the exit. Guardians fell apart. No master. No purpose. The Watcher appeared one last time. Thank you, he said. My watch is over. His form faded. They reached the pods. Launched. Barely in time. The ring exploded in slow motion. Pieces flew outward. The Devourer was gone. Resolve caught the pods. Pull them in. On the bridge, silence ruled. Elena sat in her chair. She looked tired, but alive. Marcus said energy's signature gone. Nothing left. Kai leaned against the wall. His hand shook a little, then stopped. Elena spoke. Send word to the council. The threat is ended. Again. Sarah smiled. Should we add without you? Elena thought. Then shook her head. To say it is done. The ship turned for home. The crew healed. They repaired. They remembered. Back at the Great Crystal, the council waited. This time they did not argue. They listened. Zorith met Elena at the dock. He bowed low. You have saved us again, Captain. Elena looked at him. We saved everyone, she said. That is enough. New stories spread. The ring of the Devourer. The Watcher who waited. The humans who never waited. The rapid response force grew bigger. More ships. More worlds joined. They trained together. They learned from each other. Earth became a center. Not of power, but of will. Children grew up hearing the tales. They drew pictures of resolve. They played games of guardians and heroes. Elena grew older. She trained others. She passed the command chair to new captains. But she never stopped watching the stars. One quiet night, she stood on the observation deck of a news station. Stars all around. Marcus joined her. Old now, but still curious. What do you see, she asked. Marcus said more questions. More dangers. More chances. Elena nodded. Good, she said. Because we are ready. Kai came too. His hair white. His eyes still sharp. They stood together. 3 who had started all. The galaxy turned. Threats would come. Words would fail. But humans would answer.